So what we're doing now is we're going to discuss how to actually connect the supply line and the hydrant bag to the truck. So we're simulating that we are arriving on scene to catch a hydrant or supply off of the hydrant. So we have the truck pulled up. It just stopped to let the firefighter out. The firefighter is going to climb out of the truck, go to the back of the truck, and they're going to grab a strap. When they pull that strap, they're going to pull off the truck a supply line and the hydrant bag. Now, this strap has a particular use. All you do is drape it over the hydrant. Once you've draped it over the hydrant, you are now good to tell the engineer to take the truck to the scene of the fire. And you can either do that through eye contact in the mirror and just tell them to go, or you can call them on the radio and tell them, hydrant's tagged, go ahead and pull forward. Okay? At that point, the truck's going to start pulling towards the structure fire, and hose is going to be falling off the back of the truck. You can start your work now. Take the hydrant bag off and just set it off to the side. Now that the hose is on the ground, you can go ahead and start taking the straps off the hose. Now the reason that our supply line's folded this way is when the hose pulls forward, it's actually going to be taut. So instead of trying to pull 800 feet of hose back towards you for 6 inches, you actually have multiple feet of hose laying right in front of you. Take it and just get it prepared. Then go to the hydrant bag. Pull out your spinner or your hydrant wrench and take your caps off. Sometimes these caps can be incredibly tight, and you need to make the connection low so that you can squat down and pull it open. Once it's loose, screw off the cap. Just set it on the ground. Come to the other cap. Same thing. Be mindful of your back. Set that cap down. Now the next thing we're going to do is we're going to actually open the hydrant and we're going to flush it. The reason you flush the hydrant is so that if there's any debris or rocks or sticks or even dead raccoons in here, we're going to push it all out of the hydrant line before it ever gets to the pump on the truck. And you just spin it. Okay, in this particular case, I didn't flush it very long because all I flush it to is until the water's clean. And sometimes that can take a while. That can take 30 seconds, a minute, minute and a half. You just keep flushing it until the water's clean. Then the hydrant's ready to be connected and start flowing water. So now we got to make the physical connection. We go to our hydrant bag again. We have a special coupling here. This one directly connects to the hydrant because this one has threads. It doesn't have the stores fitting coming off the hydrant, so the hose can't directly connect. You've got to have the coupling in the bag. Okay, let's connect our gated valve. And one thing I recommend on the gated valve is actually turning it to the side. Keep it to the side so that as you're coming through and spinning your hand, you don't actually whack your hands on the valve. Make sure it's closed. Now connect the hydrant. couplings. You don't want the couplings stacked on top of each other. It makes it very difficult to get the couplings apart. Make sure they're opposite of each other. Make the connection. You'll hear a clip inside of the couplings themselves. That's when it passes the locking mechanism. The hydrant's now connected. Flake your hose out. Okay, at this point, you are ready to flow water, but you don't yet. You got to think about where the other end of the hose is at. Does the engineer have the hose physically connected to the truck yet? This is where you either have to have eyesight, and he's giving you hand signals, or you talk to him on the radio. The most important factor in all of this, do not flow water until the engineer tells you to flow water. It's a significant safety factor. If you think about how much water flows through this hose, the hose will whip as it's filling. Once the engineer tells you to fill the water, you're going to turn the hydrant on. Now, here's the hardest part. It's not a race. You got to think about the physical volume of water that has to travel. Okay? Per foot of supply line is 1 gallon of water. So if you have 800 feet down, you're filling the hose with 800 gallons of water. Fill the hose slow. Do not fill the hose fast. See, the hose barely inflates, and you just let the water trickle down the hose. It'll take care of itself on kinks, and you just keep letting it go nice and slow. And that's it. Once the hydrant is filled, once the supply line's filled to the truck, then you open it all the way. Spin it all the way. Let it open up all the way. Once you hit a stop, take about a quarter of a turn out of it. At this point, you would walk to the structure fire. Now, let's finish this up and say that we're at the end of the fire. We are ready to turn the hydrant off. So you go the opposite direction and you keep spinning it until it actually stops. Oops. I opened it there. Okay, it stopped. Same thing, quarter turn to loosen it up. Now we're ready to drain the line. Okay, open up that gate valve. A whole bunch of water will start spilling out of it. And once the pressure comes off of the supply line, once it's loose and squishy, then I come over here, put my thumbs on these tabs, and take the line off. Maybe. Okay, I'm going to drop that down. Put my caps back in place. Take my gate valve off. Take my hydrant wrench. I'm going to put this all back in the bag. Zip it up. Then I'm going to drain my line. Okay. Now to make the fold, make it about as tall as I am. Pull it over and just fold it back on itself. Take this strap, the short strap, and attach it near the coupling. Take this other strap, pass it through the front, the long strap. And then lastly, I'm going to take the hydrant bag, put it on the hose, and then wrap my Velcro straps around it. At that point, it's ready to be loaded back on the truck. And that is a review of hydrant operations and the hydrant bag and supply line operations.